Alright guys, so today I'm going to show you how to make your S197 front clip and your doors quick release. Now this is going to be the disclaimer. This is more for your street strip guys that don't mind making a hole in a fender or making a hole in a bumper or just cutting some piece off if you want to retain your side skirts. Now I'm going to get into that real quick. So let's get right on to it. These are quick release pins for like hoods, okay? Pretty simple, right? Now the factory holes are in these same locations. I have to cut this one out so that way my hood strut stays on the car. Okay, so you have one here, one there, and one down there. Then you'll have another one here to mount the fender to the headlight bucket. I don't have most of my bucket because, you know, I needed room for that guy. Now, there is another spot. There's a bracket back here. It is a bracket that goes in this area. Sorry about the glare. There, it's a little better. All right, don't worry about the paint. It's all fucked up now because I did all this work. But there's a bracket here that has a stud that comes out. Your fender is notched to go in and over that bracket and drops down into place. So when I put my fender on, I move it in, I look in between here, I drop it in over that pin, then the top rail lines up, so all my pins on top line up. That bottom one is there. You can use that bottom one if you want to do the quick release on that, but you do have to make a hole in the bumper. That's an option. I will show you how to do the bumper to the fender quick release without having to do the hole in the bumper. So we've got all our top rail bolts or quick release pins up there. Now there's that spot here. Where's the factory pin? You go in, it drops down. Now it lines up here. Now your fender's on the bottom. If you want to retain side skirts, you have to cut the fender. If you do not care to retain side skirts, you can use the factory 2 bolt holes that are on the bottom that will thread in your pins, and then you can do the same setup as I did up top on the bottom. It's real simple, real easy. Now how I did this spot is I drilled out a hole in behind this that there's a metal square basically on the factory frame, and I used a rib nut, and that is basically an insert and makes threaded holes wherever you need it. And I used my pin after putting that rib nut, and I put it in that hole, and now I have a push lock pin here. I have that factory spot that it goes in and drops down over that. I got one here, one there, and one over there. Simple, right? So now all I have to do, pop off those 3 up top, that one in the bottom, fender lifts off and comes out. Easy, right? Now we got the fender part out of the way. I'm going to show you guys how I pop that side off in a few minutes. Now the bumper to the fender deal, I take, as I drop it, I take the pin, I put it up through the bottom of the bumper, and then up through the bottom of the fender. If I can see that, yep, you can see that. So I go through the bottom of the bumper, through the bottom of the fender, and then I sandwich them in between with one of the supplied caps, and that will hold the fender to the bumper. Easy, right? There's your quick release bumpers, pretty simple. You also have these factory spots up here that use a bolt hole if you want to use them. And then the only thing that holds your bumper up from being as quick release as that is your turn signals. They're the only thing left, or like fender well shields for like water and stuff. If you guys have those, different story. I don't, obviously. So all I have to do is disconnect my 2 pins here, my 2 pins on the other side. The bumper slides forward. I disconnect my turn signals because the headlights stay in the car. Now I know mine aren't even in the car right now because I'm waiting on lenses, but it's, you know, we're getting somewhere. So I'm going to show you guys how I pop off this fender real quick, and then I'll get into the doors. You'll have a spot down here if you want to use it. I'm not, because I did the pin through the fender, like I told you. So I'll go up here, pop 1, pop 2, pop 3. They're all up. Now the top rail is free, okay? Go on the bottom, one pin. I take it, sometimes you gotta shake them a little bit to get them all perfectly, but it's pretty easy. Take this, pull the bottom, voila, it's off. So, as you guys can see, this is that spot I was talking about that's notched, alright? That the pin goes in, it's a factory bracket on there, has a bolt that goes this way. So I take my fender, I line it up with this, drop it in place, then I line up the bottoms, boom. This drops in place, the top lines up, and then I go for the bottom pin at the end. Simple, right? I'm gonna show you guys real quick what that bottom bracket looks like. So this is what I was talking about with your factory stud coming out. It has a nut here that I go and I place the fender in. I look through the middle between the door and the fender, and then I drop it in over this notch. It lines up this pin, that pin, and the other pin down there. those all line up. I put the push pin, the quick release tops on them, and then I come down here, and as you can see, I have a stud here. And how I did this was with a riv nut gun. So I drill out the hole, you use an insert, you put it in there, and then you thread in this pin into that spot. You drill out your fender for it, and that's it. It pops in place. You can see the piece of metal that I had to cut off to keep the side skirts. This is the bottom half of the fender. Like I said, it bolts into the car down here below. You can do this setup. You just thread them into the bottom, and that's it. You can keep your fender, but you have to remove the side skirt. I don't like the look of that. I think it looks really ugly. I think these cars all need side skirts. This is basically the same setup that guys would use on like blower cars with zoomies and stuff. So it's pretty easy. I do take the little collars and trying to turn them so that way they go down a little bit. I'll show you what I mean about those little collars. Is these have this little nut here, obviously to sandwich them in between whatever you're going to use them on. I unthread these, basically I loosen these, and it pushes this nut down onto the fender and it makes them really tight. So as you can see on this one, it's not going anywhere. This one I haven't done it, but you get the point. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. Now let's get to the door stuff. Now if you guys know anything about these doors, they're super heavy. The factory door weighs in at 81 pounds. And after you get the speakers and weigh that, it's another 10 pounds. So I'd say each door weighs about 91 pounds. Now my doors, if you check that community tab, they're cut out behind them. I do retain the electric windows. So my doors actually weigh in at 56 pounds. Now, let's get to this quick release idea. As you can see, there's a wiring harness right here for the door. Simple, right? This is so I can disconnect the wiring harness from the window stuff and then pull the door off. So your factory pins are non-removable. So basically like a Jeep, you would just take the factory pin, you drill this out, and you would be able to put these pins in. They are 5/16s, basically like a trailer pin. So I can pop this part over the bottom half of it. That goes there, it holds it in place, you know, it keeps it sturdy. I pull this down, I pull the pin up, and that is it. I can pop off the 2 pins on the top and bottom of the door. That's it, and then I just unplug this. So, real easy, real simple, right? So you get your 2 pins, you just drill them out, you shove these new ones in, you pull that wiring harness out far enough that you can disconnect it from in this area, and that is that. Now, if you guys also have been keeping up with the community tab, I also put this carpeting in. Now this stuff is called Custom Match from AutoZone. It cost me 11 bucks for a roll of 6 feet long by 3 feet wide, and I ended up doing the entire floor on both sides. Turned out really nice. And for a race car, you know, with no carpets, or if you tore your carpets out, this is a great alternative. For 11 bucks, you can't really beat it. And I mean, it made the whole car look a lot better and a lot newer, and everybody knows the metal floors never look good. Unless you do like Rhino-Line or something, you roll it on. This is my new interior look now, and it looks so much better. All right, so now you guys know how to make your front end quick release, fenders, bumpers, hoods, doors. Pretty simple, pretty cheap, pretty easy. These little pins cost about 30 or 20, 30 bucks for 10 pins. You can do one fender with 4 to 5 pins each side, and then you could use 4 on the front bumper alone. You can go buy those Harbor Freight pins for the doors for $7 to $10 for the pack of 20, and then you can buy some more pins to do the hood if you want. I cannot do it to this hood because this hood weighs 35 pounds. The bitch is heavy. I'm gonna get a pin on hood because I just want to be able to remove the hood and not need help, which is kind of where all this comes into play. Trying to make this car very serviceable and very easy to run, even if I'm alone at the track or just working on it in general. Plus, the new color is coming. That's why I don't really care how beat up this one got doing all these modifications, because the new color will be sprayed, and then I'll be able to take all the panels off and keep the new color nice and fresh for when, you know, we're done and going racing. So, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hope you guys go down, like, comment, and subscribe. I will leave the links for the pins for here and for the doors. And that's it. I will catch you guys in the next one.